Leaving Chileda with his bride, Yasuge headed for the Blue Hills in the distance. There he was going to hunt steppe birds, but the upcoming hunt, Yasuge's favorite pastime, did not interest him much. In his mind, he kept returning to the sudden meeting. And this merkit is a fool. It is located as in its native Nutuga. It was necessary to take away from him both the horse, the oxen, and the bride, and force him to graze the flocks. That would be fair. The enemy is always the enemy. Why did you let him go unharmed? Maybe it's just because this merkit is such a simpleton and a clumsy. No, I guess not. Such Harakas never aroused his pity and sympathy. No intelligence, no courage. If he, Yasuge, had been in the place of this merkit, would he have allowed anyone to look into the cart? And what a bride this simpleton got! Her face was etched into my memory. Angry eyes sparkled in the gloom of the wagon, and beads of sweat glistened on her thick eyebrows like dew in the grass. Most likely, because of her, he did not touch merkit. But did you do it right? What would old Ambakai Khan, his wise mentor, say about all this? That's something you can't guess in advance. In a recent battle with the merkits, Yasuge made his way to Toktobeki, the young son of the leader of the enemies. Acting with a spear and then with a saber, he inflicted several wounds on Toto. He ran, bleeding profusely. Yasuge started to overtake him, but the horse got his foot into a gopher hole and fell. Yasuge almost cut down the steed out of frustration and rage. After the battle, he tried to stay out of the Khan's sight, but Ambachai himself called and said, "I can see you're very upset, but there's no reason to be upset. Toktobeki must take his father's place, and a beaten leader of a hostile tribe is better than an unbroken one. Once again, he will not want to fight with us." Ambakai Khan, a friend and successor of the famous Kabul Khan, Yasuge's grandfather, looks at many things quite differently from other Noyons of the tribe. After the battle with the merkits, the Noyons demanded that Ambakai Khan, without hesitating a day, move against the eternal enemies, the Tatar tribe. Yasuge then thought the same as everyone else. The merkits are weakened by the defeat and death of the leader. While they are recovering, they can attack the Tatars with all their might. Ambakai Khan listened, did not interrupt anyone, pinched a thin gray mustache. He always had the habit of pinching the same mustache, because the other mustache was much longer, which made the wrinkled Khan's face look distorted. When everyone had finished talking, he sighed. The strong one defeats the enemy. The wise one benefits from victory. Is it wise to go to war against the Tatars now? They know about the defeat of the merkits, and they talk about how you do, and they are preparing to meet with us. Heaven only knows what the outcome of the war will be. But even if we win, what will victory give us? Altan Khan will be alarmed by our reinforcement. He's going to make war on us. We can't resist alone. So we need to think not about war, but about peace with the Tatars. I will go to them myself, without warriors, and try to extinguish the fire of old enmity. "They'll kill you," Yasuge said. "Maybe they will," Ambakai Khan replied with a sad smile. "But we are unlikely to have such a chance to establish peace again." With several nukers, Ambakai Khan left for Lake Buirnur, a place of nomadic Tatars. It is high time for him to return, but there is neither him nor news of him. Yasuge's horse walked at a walk, grazing on the way. The sun had passed noon, but the heat did not subside. The steppe was deserted. Yasuge had completely forgotten that he was going hunting. His thoughts clung to one another like links in a chain, but no matter what he thought, the memory of the cloud girl lived in him with vague anxiety. The further I drove away from the reed beds on the banks of the Onon, the more clearly this anxiety became. He already understood that he envied Harak Merkit. Yasuge should have gotten a wife long ago. All his brothers, even the youngest, have wives, but he was unlucky. His father had found a bride for him in one of the tribes roaming near the Great Wall of China. But when it came time to take the bride home, the Tatars attacked the tribe, killed many people, and took many, including his bride, with them. Then his father, the brave Bartan Bagatur, died. Then the wars began, and his yurt still remains empty. That's why he disappears hunting all the time. If the hearth of his yurt had been lit by a beauty as beautiful as the bride of this merchant. Still undecided, he picked up the reins, turned his horse sharply, and raced home at full speed. The yurts of his tribe are freely spread out on a flat hill near Onon. Herds of horses, waiting out the heat, stood in the river. Sheep lay on the shore. Shepherds were sleeping in the thin shade of young birches. A mangy dog was sitting next to them, breathing heavily, sticking out a pink tongue. Yasuge dismounted at the yurt of his brother, Nekuntaiji. Swiftly throwing back the curtain, he crossed the threshold. It was dark and cool in the yurt. The brothers Nekuntaiji and Daritai Ochigin were sitting by the hearth, their legs tucked under them. There must have been something in his expression that alarmed the brothers, both of them silently staring at him in anticipation. Yasuge, humbling his impatience, sat down next to his brothers and drank a cup of kumis. Custom does not tell a self-respecting person to be like a fussy magpie. He turned with slow deference to the owner of the yurt, his older brother. "Is everything all right with you?" "The eternal sky protects me," Nekuntaiji replied just as slowly, sedately, but suddenly his face, thick-cheeked, ruddy, broke into a happy smile. "Yasuge, I have a son. I'll call him Huchar. That's a good name, huh?" Nekuntaiji was beaming with joy. And Daritai Ochigin, not only the youngest, but also the smallest of the brothers, a short man with thin, unmanly hands, blinked his eyes. It seemed he was laughing with joy, but Yasuge knew Ochigin too well. He was pretending. Small stature and weakness spoiled his character. He never sincerely rejoices for his brothers, just squints his cunning eyes like that. "Do you want to hunt with me?" Yasuge asked. "Is it now?" Nekuntaiji looked through the chimney at the sun-bleached sky. "It's hot. Who is being hunted?" Daritai Ochigin peered into Yasuge's face, trying to figure out what his brother was not telling him. "A wild goat." "Shall we go alone?" Ochigin asked, still not understanding what was on Yasuge's mind. "The three of us will go, we don't need anyone else. But the condition is a goat for me." "And for us?" Ochigin persisted. "You're welcome." "Ah," Ochigin drawled, seeming to understand what kind of hunting his brother was calling for. "Isn't it dangerous? Maybe we should talk to my older brother, Mungatukian?" "There are only 2 oxen," Yasuge laughed. He got up. "Get ready quickly. If you don't go, I'll go alone.